Alright guys, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to do video 1, and video 1 is just going to add color to the koi fish itself. Video 2 is going to be for the water around the koi fish. Okay? So the one thing that I want you to keep in mind when you're doing this is you want, I know I showed you guys this before, but I'm going to show you guys it again. Okay, this is our visual aid, okay? So if you see in here, we're going to use a gradient. It's going to go from yellow all the way up to orange through red, and maybe even into some red violet around the side of the fish's head. And we're going to do the same thing with the scales, and we're going to leave that little white line because that helps give it kind of a stylized look. Okay, we're not going to touch anything inside this spot here because we're going to act like that's just the water splashing over top of our koi fish. Okay, now I know mine has some dark lines on it. I'm going to wind up having to go in afterwards and kind of clean that up. But I am going to start with, I'm going to lighten this up before I start because I do not want to have, I don't want to have my lines get muddied from the graphite from my pencil. So I'm just lightening it up a little. It might be hard for you guys to see it a little bit at first, but I can still see it, and you'll see it once I start adding the yellow in. I just don't want my yellow to get really dirty looking. So I'm just going to follow along my line. Less is more, guys. Like you want to start off a little bit lighter, and you'll get darker as you go. So that's why I'm starting with my lighter color. So add my yellow. I'm going to add a little bit of this light yellow in here. Okay, and I'm coloring it kind of dark towards the edge, and it's getting lighter as it goes out from the edge. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm going to start blending it with another color. So anytime you're going to blend, or at least anytime I blend, I tend to still do a light color, a light shading of the color I'm blending it into. So this is my next color. It's kind of like a yellowish orange because I'm trying to slowly change my yellow into kind of like a yellowish orange, and that's going to change to orange. This should take a couple layers, guys. It shouldn't just be, you know, ooh, one coat and you're done. It's going to take a couple layers of the colors going back and forth in order to get a really nice blend where it's kind of seamless. You don't want it to be too dark at first, because if you get too dark, then you're not going to be able to lighten up later. Notice I'm not coloring in the eye. I'm leaving that for right now. Okay, I'm going to go back over this with the yellow. Okay, and now back to the orange again. I'm going to clean up this edge here. I've got a lot of kind of stray marks that I don't want to pollute the coloring. Okay, now I'm going to start getting a little bit lighter with the orange because it's going to have to blend into the next color. It's kind of like a reddish orange. Okay, now I'm going to go in. I know this side I want to have the red blend into it. I'm going to go back in with some of this orange. So you see how it's important to go kind of back and forth a couple times before you get a nice solid blend. Alright, I'm not going to go in with, originally I was saying maybe I would go in with some of the violet, but I really don't want to because I want the fish to stay with the warm colors and our cool colors to stay in our water in the background. So I'm not going to touch it with any of that. The next part that we have on our fish is going to be the scales. Okay, so the scales on this side are going to be more of that, you know, it's going to follow the same pattern of kind of yellow to orange to red. Okay. So if you can see with this, it's going to have that, you know, bright yellow the middle area will be kind of an orange, and then it slowly gets to the red. Okay, and then with the fins, the way I did it was, you know, yellow to orange to red up towards the body of the tail. So, all right. So I'm going to start with my bright yellow again on the side. And the way I'm going to do this, I want to make sure that it's nice and clean, because like I said, when you're working with yellow, it can get really muddy if you're not careful from your pencil marks. So if you've got a lot of stray marks that from sketching in your scales, you might want to kind of clean it up before you add your color, or you're going to wind up with some dirty looking scales. And unfortunately, my style of drawing, I tend to draw very sketchy at first. So I always wind up with a lot of stray marks. Okay. So first line, I'm going to kind of, actually I'm going to start over here. Start with my bright. I'm leaving myself a line. I don't want to cross that line. I'm going to leave this line. So that stays white. Okay. It may be kind of hard to tell. Let me kind of lift it up so you can see what I'm talking about. But see how I'm kind of leaving this space white, and it's going to get even whiter because I'm going to erase out this dark line, because I'm not liking that line. It's too dark. So it's going to get even nicer space. Okay, and so my next row is going to be right up against that. And same thing, I want to leave that little arc of white. So you can see I'm leaving that little area white. Okay, and I'm going to keep doing that with this bright yellow for right now. So just on the right side of my fish, I'm going to have all these scales right on this right side. And they're going to stay just bright yellow. And then eventually I will start adding in my yellow orange. But right now I'm going to keep it, I'm just sticking to this side and sticking with the one color. And that's why it doesn't really matter if I color dark, because of the fact that I'm not blending yet, so I don't need there to be room for, you know, the paper to absorb the other color. And remember, I'm not going to color anything inside here, so it's just going to go like this for that spot and for this spot here. Okay, I'm going to start blending in this area here, so I'm not going to do anything with that. I'm going to resume right here. I need to resharpen my pencil a little bit. I want to make sure I have a nice sharp point when I'm trying to do these small areas. Okay, that's going to stay blues, so I'm not going to worry about this. This is going to be yellow on this side, and it's going to transition into that yellow-orange, so I'll do some of that. Same thing here, it's going to be yellow over here and transition into the yellow-orange. Alright, now I'm going to start with my yellow-orange, starting to add some of that in here. So I'm not coloring really dark right off the bat because I may have to blend some of that yellow in. Okay, so I'm going to add some yellow, or some of the yellow-orange over top of this right here. And I'm going to add it right here. Starting to come together. Sometimes if you want it to blend, just adding a little bit of yellow on top, or, you know, the color that you're blending to can help, you know, add some of that. So you're not leaving, like, you go right up to the top, but you leave a little bit of a line at the bottom. So each one you color all the way up to the top of it, but you're going to leave the bottom with a little bit of a white. And that helps give it that really stylized kind of cool look about it. Okay, and I'm going to keep doing that the whole time. You go all the way up to the top, but it's just around the bottom. So when you get to one of these weird one that's kind of half covered by the little wave of water that's going to go over top, I just kind of go all the way up to the top still, but I leave that little spot at the bottom. Okay. Now these rows in here, I'm going to probably do another nice little row of this orange. And I didn't do that little thing, you know, where I left the bottom of this white. I don't know why I didn't. I just didn't really feel like it needed it. Again, these are smaller scales down here at the bottom, so it kind of makes it more interesting when you're trying to really get your lines nice and crisp. You know, especially with blending and things like that. You don't want to accidentally color over all your little white areas that you're trying to keep open. Because I mean, it's okay to do that, but it's just not going to look as nice. And it's not the look we're going for. We're kind of going for this Japanese style. And like koi fish tends to represent like overcoming adversity and strength and prosperity. Alright, so as these start to get towards the middle, they're eventually going to start to blend with the darker orange that I'm using. So I'm going to do maybe kind of right up to here, I think, and then it's going to start to blend. So like half of this one will be this regular orange, you know, the yellowish orange, and then the other half's going to have to go to the darker orange. Okay, I think that's kind of a good row. I'm going to go in with this orange now and start to kind of blend it. It's kind of a reddish orange. The color pencils I have are they're pretty good. They're super color. It's a really 120 color pencil, so it's pretty good. They blend pretty well, so that's why you can see like it's not really taking too much to blend from the one color to the other. I'm a firm believer though that if it's not the supplies that make the artist. These were donated to me. I don't know how expensive they are, or so I can't really say, you know, if I would purchase them on my own, but they're really good pencils. So if you feel like they at least work really well, should I say. So if you ever want to get some good color pencils that blend really nice together and have a really nice color about them, then I would definitely go with these. I just realized that this is not even part of that set, though. This is part of this set. My watercolor pencils. So maybe that is why this is blending on top of those so well, but I don't know. I have two sets right next to each other, and I just happened to grab the wrong one, but it's okay. It's working well. But that watercolor set is actually not very expensive. I got this last Christmas, 72 colors, and I just kind of bought myself a Christmas present. All right. I'm going to be switching again after this half row right here. I'm going to go probably right down the middle right here. And then this will be my shades of red. I'll probably mix some of the orange in with it, but the whole point is to get a nice blend where it's really kind of blending from one color to another. That makes it look really nice. You're getting kind of a really kind of cool feel about it. So what I'm going to do, because I do want this really to blend, I'm going to add just a light shade of this orange on here, and then I'm going to put the red over top of it in the hopes that at least this middle part right here will get kind of a nicer blend with the red, because the red does seem to be a little bit harsh, and I want to make sure that it doesn't overpower my orange, at least on these transitional scales here, these middle ones. This whole scale will be like a reddish orange. This one too. This one actually can be dark right here. Alright. Alright, so this one also will be a transitional one. Alright, now let's start going in with the red. Alright. It is blending pretty good though. Okay. Sometimes I wonder like how much of the inside house noise is transferring to you guys, like how much you guys can actually hear, because I'm always hearing my kids talking and stuff like that during my videos, and you know, that's because I'm not a YouTuber. I'm actually just a teacher that's trying to teach during distance learning. Alright, I'm liking how that's looking. I'm leaving the big scales completely white for right now. So like this one too, this one, and I'm gonna, or not scales, but you know what I mean, the fins. I'm gonna leave those white for right now, and I'll go back to them after I'm done all of my scale work. Well, except for the water, the ones that have the splash of water over top of them, I'm not gonna mess with those until I work on, you know, my cool colors with the water. Which I already have this picked out as well. I'm basically going to be doing blue into purple for those. Another transitional type thing. And I'm just going to kind of follow what I did the last time I made this project, which is the deeper areas of the water are going to be the darker, deeper purples, whereas then it's going to transition out to like the more surface areas are going to be the lighter blues. Always good to have a sharpener nearby, because chances are you will have to sharpen your color pencils repeatedly. I know I do. I had an electric sharpener, but I broke it. Too much use, I guess. So now I just have your regular sharpeners that come with your art kits. Alright, so this is inside the water. I almost accidentally colored that, and that would have been really bad, so I'm glad I didn't. I don't want to touch any of those, because you're going to, basically that entire area is just going to be transitioned to the blue with the white line. So it'll, you know, give it the appearance of being underwater, because the color will be muted. And it'll make it a good contrast to the reds and oranges and the warm colors of the fish. That's my Great Dane kind of huffing in the background because she's mad that I'm doing this instead of petting her. So I know, Isabel. Okay. Shh. Isabel, that's enough. Shh. What? Shh. You're fine. You're fine. 130-pound big baby. Just wants to be pet. Alright, I'm really kind of liking the way it's coming. This is a lot of work, guys, as far as it's kind of tedious, but it's not hard work. So you just have to focus and pay attention to what you're doing so that you don't accidentally mess it up. But it's really not, it's not difficult. You know, you just kind of get your colors together ahead of time so that you know what's going to go where. So I knew that my yellow was going to go over this side, and it was going to slowly go to orange and then go to red. So it really doesn't take much skill. Like, yeah, you have to blend a little bit, but it's just about putting layers of the colors on top of each other, so that really doesn't even take anything. And anybody, if there's anybody that's not a part of my actual class that wants to share a picture of your final product, please do. That'd be kind of cool to see somebody else's artwork. I get to see my students' stuff all the time, but I know this is a long video, guys. I apologize, but I don't fast forward through them so that you guys can see the whole process. So, alright, so that's the scales. I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to do another smaller video on the fins. And then I'll do another video that shows the actual wooder. Alright guys, so stay tuned for video 2 and video 3 for this koi fish.